Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey, Cowboys Nation. Today, we're diving deep into a story that could have huge implications for the Dallas Cowboys and their future plans, especially when it comes to the wide receiver position. We're talking about a potential landing spot for one of the league's most promising wide receivers, George Pickens, who's been making waves this season and has recently been named to his first Pro Bowl. Now, why is this news so crucial? Because it could signal a significant shift in the Cowboys' roster strategy in the upcoming offseason, and it's worth analyzing every angle to understand what this might mean for the team, the player, and the NFL landscape as a whole. But before we get into the details, let's set the stage for the current state of the Dallas Cowboys. If you've been following the team this season, you know that they've had a roller coaster of a ride, filled with high highs and some frustrating lows. The Cowboys entered this season with high expectations, fueled by their strong defense, led by stars like Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs, and an offense that showed flashes of brilliance under quarterback Dak Prescott. However, as is often the case in the NFL, consistency has been a challenge, especially on offense, where the receiver corps has sometimes struggled to find rhythm and produce at the level fans and analysts anticipated. This season, the Cowboys have faced injuries, some inconsistency at the wide receiver position, and questions about whether they can elevate their offensive game enough to complement an elite defense. The receiver corps, in particular, has been a point of concern. CeeDee Lamb has been a bright spot, truly blossoming into the primary target and a top-tier receiver in the league. But beyond him, the options have been limited, and the team has lacked a true secondary threat capable of stretching defenses or consistently winning contested catches. That's where the potential signing of someone like George Pickens becomes so intriguing. Now, let's delve into the recent news that's sparking all this buzz. According to Bleacher Report's Mo Motton, the Las Vegas Raiders have been identified as a top landing spot for Pickens in the 2025 NFL season. This isn't just idle speculation. It's based on a combination of the Raiders' needs, cap space, and the player's production and potential. The Raiders, as many of you know, have been in a bit of a rebuild mode, especially on offense. They've got a lot of question marks at quarterback and wide receiver, and their roster is in flux. The Raiders currently don't boast a true number one receiver, someone who can reliably threaten defenses through the air and consistently make big plays. They've tried various options, but nothing has really stuck. Their current receiver group lacks that star power that can elevate the entire offense and keep defenses honest. And with the NFL trending toward explosive passing attacks, just look at the league leaders in yards and touchdowns. Having a dynamic receiver is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Mo Motton points out that the Raiders are projected to have around $105 million in cap space for 2025, which is second only to teams like the Chicago Bears. This gives them flexibility to make bold moves, including signing a high-profile wide receiver like Pickens, who's been earning his stripes in Dallas. Pickens' stats this season are impressive. 342 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns with still 2 games remaining. Those numbers are remarkable, especially considering that he's done this in his first season as a primary target after coming from a team like the Steelers, where he had yet to hit the 800-yard mark in a season before this year. This production isn't just a flash in the pan. It signals that Pickens is capable of being a true game changer if given the right opportunity. His route running, contested catch ability, and deep threat potential make him a perfect fit for a team desperate for offensive firepower. The question is, could the Cowboys potentially lose him? And what would that mean for their future plans? It's widely expected that Dallas will use their franchise tag on Pickens or work out a new deal to keep him in the fold. But if they decide to let him walk, the market will be hot for his services. The Raiders could swoop in, especially with their cap flexibility and the need for a receiver who can step in immediately and produce. For Dallas fans, this is a bittersweet scenario, losing a talented young player who's just starting to show what he can do, but also a reminder of how fleeting NFL rosters can be if not managed meticulously. But let's not forget, the Raiders' interest in a player like Pickens isn't just about filling a roster spot. It's about strategic positioning. They need a receiver who can be the centerpiece of their passing game, especially if they're exploring options at quarterback, whether that's Geno Smith, a veteran bridge quarterback, or a rookie. The addition of a proven deep threat and reliable target like Pickens could be exactly what they need to jumpstart their offense. Now, looking at the broader picture, what does this mean for the Cowboys? Well, it's a reminder that the NFL is always in flux, and every offseason is a chess game. The Cowboys have made it clear they value Pickens highly, and their front office will likely do everything to keep him, especially after his breakout season. But if they fail to reach an agreement, it opens up a pathway for other teams to make a splash, and the Raiders are just one example. Could we see Dallas pivoting to other options? Perhaps, but the market for young, talented receivers like Pickens is fierce, and the team will need to weigh whether they're willing to match or exceed offers from other suitors. In the context of the NFL landscape, this situation highlights a trend we've been seeing for a few seasons now. Teams are increasingly valuing young, ascending stars at the wide receiver position. Players like Pickens, with their combination of size, speed, and catching ability, are game changers on the field and high-value assets in negotiations. The fact that he's only in his second year makes his market value even more significant because he's clearly on an upward trajectory. Let's also consider the historical context. Over the past decade, the NFL has shifted from a predominantly run-heavy league to one where passing rules and offensive schemes favor the aerial game. The teams that have succeeded consistently, like the Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals, have star receivers who can consistently produce big plays. Dallas, with Lamb's emergence, is on that path, but they clearly want to add more firepower to compete at the highest level. Comparing Pickens' numbers to other top receivers in the league, his yardage total of over 300 yards and 9 touchdowns is solid, especially in a system where he's still developing chemistry and learning the nuances of NFL defenses. His ability to win contested catches and stretch the field makes him a valuable commodity. And let's not forget, he's only in his second year, which means he has significant room to grow and improve. So, what are the potential implications of this possible move? For the Cowboys, losing Pickens would be a blow, but it could also be a wake-up call to prioritize their receiver room more aggressively in free agency or the draft. They might look to draft a young receiver or sign a veteran to fill the void. For the Raiders, acquiring a talent like Pickens could transform their offense overnight, giving quarterback Geno Smith or any future QB a reliable target capable of making big plays and elevating the team's overall offensive efficiency. And let's not forget the broader NFL narrative. The league is always about strategic moves, and off-season decisions like this can ripple through the entire league standings. A player like Pickens landing in Las Vegas could propel the Raiders into playoff contention or even give them that offensive spark they've been lacking. Conversely, losing him might force Dallas to reconfigure their entire offensive approach, especially if they decide to prioritize other areas like offensive line or defensive depth. Now, as we look toward the future, what can we expect? Will Dallas make a concerted effort to retain Pickens, or will they risk losing him to a team like the Raiders? The offseason is still a few months away, but these discussions are already happening behind closed doors. The Cowboys have shown in recent years that they're not afraid to make bold moves, whether through trades, draft picks, or contract negotiations. The key will be balancing their salary cap, team needs, and long-term strategy. Meanwhile, the Raiders' front office will be assessing their options, weighing the cost against the potential gains. If they manage to sign Pickens, it could be a game-changer for their offense, which has struggled to find consistency outside of their running game and tight end Darren Waller. The addition of a young, dynamic receiver like Pickens could change the entire offensive dynamic, making their passing game more unpredictable and dangerous. And what about the fans? Well, Cowboys fans are no strangers to roster drama and off-season speculation, but this particular story adds a layer of intrigue. The possibility of losing a rising star like Pickens to a division rival or an AFC contender is always a tough pill to swallow. It reminds us how fragile roster stability can be and how important smart management is in the NFL. Conversely, Raiders fans are likely excited about the prospect of landing a player with such high upside, especially if it means revitalizing their offense and making a push toward playoff contention. In the end, this story isn't just about one player or one team. It's about the constant chess match that is the NFL offseason, where every move can have ripple effects that influence the league's competitive landscape for years to come. The Cowboys will undoubtedly be watching closely, exploring their options and trying to figure out how to keep their young star while also addressing their roster needs. So my friends, what do you think? Do you believe Dallas will be able to keep Pickens, or will the Raiders swoop in and steal him away? How would that impact the Cowboys' chances this season and in the future? Do you see other teams circling around similar talents? The NFL is always full of surprises, and this offseason promises to be one of the most exciting yet. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. We're here to bring you the most comprehensive NFL coverage, and your support makes all the difference. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys.